Welcome along to South Today's Sport. As you know, from time to time on this program we catch up with the leading sports journalist Joseph Romanos on the issues of the day, normally in Wellington, but Joseph's in town for the Martin Crowe book launch, and so we take this opportunity to catch up now. Good evening, Joseph. Welcome along to my house.
G'day, Tom. Very nice house too.
All right, let's run through a few sporting issues that have really hit the headlines. We'll start with boxing because David Tour, we've discussed many times, is being perhaps past his prime. He thinks differently. 41, back on the road again. Yeah,
I was flying down here before the Crow function, and he was on the flight from Christchurch. And in fact, he was waiting for me at the gate. And he said, "I've wanted to meet you." I thought, but he was very nice. And he said, "Oh no, you motivate me." He was very friendly. However, you know,
because you haven't always been kind to him. The latter years.
I don't think I have been. Well, I mean, I think he had a great career. God, for a guy 5'8", he had a brilliant career for heavyweight.
I thought he was 5'10".
Not when you stand next to him.
Okay.
But he's 41. What? It's sad, isn't it, that he needs to go and fight someone like this again. I just think these things won't end well one day.
Because you can't all bring out deep fat fryers, can you? Or as Mr. Foreman did.
No, that's right. Foreman Grill. The thing is, Tua is always so out of shape when he goes into a training camp that you need to spend 3 months getting the weight off and so on, and that's 3 months you're not working on his skills.
Did he look good today? Condition-wise?
No, he looks overweight. He looked very friendly and unassuming and quite a nice, quiet guy, but a chunky one.
Well, let's talk about boxing in general because we've had the both Parker fight in recent times where Parker absolutely, well, he slaughtered him, didn't he?
He slaughtered Bota, yeah. He looked good too, didn't he? I mean, it was only 2 rounds and he didn't have much opposition as it turned out, but he looked like a good straight boxer who knew his way around a ring. So
they're saying Sonny Bill don't fight Parker, it'll be Kill Bill. How do you think it would come out?
Yeah, that would be a very short fight, and Sonny Bill would come second, for sure.
You're not impressed with his boxing skills? He seems to be physically well prepared, but
I know he's the New Zealand heavyweight boxing champion, Tom, but no, he doesn't do it for me. I think he's a great sportsman, but on the football field.
What about the way that Parker's being looked after? We had the Bob Jones era, and now he's with Lonergan and various other parties. I'm always worried about the mentors as much as the boxer.
Rightly so. No, I don't think he's been looked after very well at all. I think probably Bob Jones had his best interest at heart and wanted him to fight proper fighters and not be a circus act, but this outfit, Dolco, they're really looking for the money quickly, and so you're looking for these gimmick fights, and I don't think it's in Parker's long-term interest, that sort of build-up of a career, but he is a good boxer and he may come through it.
Since the Russians dominated heavyweight boxing, two brothers in particular, the focus in America's sort of come off the heavyweight scene, isn't it? They've been chasing the Mayflowers and all those lighter boxers, and we don't hear about the heavyweights being lauded as much as before.
No, but they are pretty pitiful, the American heavyweights at the moment. But I think that one of the big problems with boxing, and it's just getting worse, isn't it? There's more and more titles and more organisations running it, and it's hard to get any focus for the whole thing now.
Will you be ringside for Tour? We'll finish on boxing on that one.
No. I mean, I wish him all the best, but I worry. Fingers crossed.
Please stop.
Yeah.
All right, let's move to tennis. Wimbledon, quite remarkable this year. So many top seeds have fallen over and out in the very early stages.
Well, if you think about it, I mean, the men's draw now has Djokovic at the top and Murray at the bottom and no one in the middle, because Federer's gone, Nadal's gone, and Tsonga's gone. I thought Tsonga was the best of the dark horses, got the weapons to win on grass.
But injured though. So.
Yeah, he's gone this year, he's injured, and Federer and Nadal have been beaten, so that's weak. And then the women's draw, well, Serena Williams is still there and you'd think she'd win the tournament, but the two women closest to her this year have been Azarenka and Sharapova, and they're both out. So the men's and women's singles are very weak, really, at this stage.
In Wimbledon, you can usually set faith in grass court specialists, can't you? Like you can with clay.
Yeah.
Not quite proven to be the case. Some dark horses, we don't even know what their abilities are of winning.
Well, you know, people from Germany ranked 130 or 180 in the world, knocking over really good players. I mean, I would have thought Leighton Hewitt, he beat Wawrinka in the first round. He's a good grass court player and a good volleyer. He's won at Wimbledon before. I'd have thought he'd be fine. He lost in the second round to a bloke that no one who follows tennis will have heard of.
And they say the Federer upset was one of the biggest in Wimbledon history. Well, I think there's a limited knowledge of Wimbledon history, actually.
There's been a lot of the biggest upset in Wimbledon history matches.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's, again, we talk at this stage about who's the best, because Federer's twilight career, you'd have to say now, wouldn't you?
Oh, definitely. I think this really signals a plunge into the twilight zone. I wouldn't have thought the same about Nadal. I mean, let's not forget he's just coming off winning the French Open, so he's fine.
But 2 years in a row he's been knocked out very early at Wimbledon, hasn't he, Nadal?
Yeah, but he had injury problems last year. He never played again for 10 months afterwards. I mean, I wouldn't count last year's one. This year's one was a big shock, but he is coming off a huge clay court season in which he's won the French. So, you know, I guess not every year you can do everything.
All right, let's talk about the majors, the golf majors, because we just completed one with the Utah. A good one for Justin Rose, a rare one for the Brits. Yeah,
40 odd years since Tony Jacklin won that tournament. Good win, but you wouldn't have thought. I mean, I think Rose is a good solid player, but you wouldn't have put him in your top 3 or 4 to win that tournament. I wouldn't have. I mean, obviously Tiger would have been the favourite, but you know there were 3 or 4 others nearby, and I would have thought Rose was in a group sort of below that. But shows you how tough it is at the top of golf at the moment. There are 10, 15, 20 golfers who can win a major, and it is not a Tiger Woods one-man show.
Does it bother you that the winner doesn't even break par? That the courses are so tough, or made so tough, that even the best golfers in the world can't beat them?
Well, if I had a choice between the winner winning with 1 over par or 19 under par, I'd rather it was 1 over par. I don't mind if they have to work really hard and be strategic the way they work their way around a course. I mean, they're not able to overpower these majors courses like they can with the routine tournaments all year, and that's quite a good thing, isn't it, that you have to know strategically where you want to put your ball on the next shot and which side of the green you should be landing on and so on. I mean, that's not a bad thing.
All right, let's switch to cricket. Disappointing end for New Zealand in the Champions Trophy, but weather did play a part there. They could have beaten Australia and gone straight through, didn't. Rain effective match, got beaten in a short game.
Yeah, actually you'd have to say in hindsight, and you wouldn't say this often, that we probably would have beaten Australia. I mean, we're in a tiny bit of disarray and they're in huge disarray.
Oh no, it's fixed. Haven't you heard? Darren Lehman is the coach.
Oh, it's all fine now.
Is that a fix for you?
It's all sorted. Well, he would be better than Arthur. He would relate better to those players. He's from Australia. He certainly won't be suspending him if they don't do their homework. I mean, he will have his feet on the ground more.
Now, I think the concern for them, no matter how you look at this, Michael Clark is on borrowed time with his back, isn't it? That does not sound like something to be easily fixed, and can't be.
No, and then they say, oh, well, Shane Watson's a good batsman. Well, it's a long time since he made a significant test score, really, and the rest of the batting is fragile. So their pace bowling is handy, no good spinners, and very fragile batting. That is a weak Aussie team.
And you'd have to say the English have got young guys, the likes of Root, who are coming through. And I know it's early days in their career, but they seem to have more depth than they've had for some time.
Oh, definitely. No, more than that. I mean, Compton's made a couple of hundreds, Root, Bairstow. I mean, they've got young players who are pushing Peterson and Bell and Cook and so on. They're pushing for places. So that's strong. They've got good pace bowling, and they've got Swan, who's maybe the best spinner in the world. That is a much better England team than what Australia can field. And
finally, and usually it's first, we have to talk about rugby. Just completed season between France and New Zealand. What did you make of the series? I thought France were a genuine test for the All Blacks.
Well, it was better than those early season tests we've been having, isn't it? Where some B team comes out and the All Blacks beat them by 70 and everyone pretends they're excited about it. I mean, they were 3 competitive tests and the All Blacks were better, but they weren't massively better, and they had to earn their victory, so that was good. And it's probably the best thing that could have happened to them going into a Tri-Nations.
And some signals there that maybe a few of the players might look at other careers shortly.
Yeah, I suppose. I thought some signals were also saying, hey, we're giving these guys a bit more latitude. Hoare and people like this who you'd think, well, maybe it is time to flick them on, but they're still in the mix.
And finally, great Lions test, wasn't it? Yeah, fantastic Lions test.
Yeah. Robbie Deans must be kicking himself though. I mean, that was a rare chance.
He didn't slip over.
Yeah, rare chance for a good. If he tried to kick himself, he'd have probably missed. Yeah, never mind.
All right, Joseph, thanks for joining us tonight, and you can see more from Joseph next week when we talk about his illustrious writing career. For the moment, though, that's South Today tonight. We'll see you on Monday.